Yes, sir, man. Episode 477, live and direct. Y'all now tuned in off the cuff radio. I'm your host, King Eric, the media assassin, and this show is sponsored by Buddy Boy Entertainment, Da Vinci Clothing, Jesse Boutique, Core Financial, Fleetwood, and the Cotton Pickers. I got my host T Match with the facts, and Pittsburgh Pat on the line. What's good, man? What's good, brothers?
What's going on, man?
What it do? Of course, we can't forget Da Vinci Clothing and Dirty Basement Radio, man. We are live for this magnificent Monday night. Pat, it's always great to have you with us as well, man. What's going on with you?
Man, just chilling, man. You know, had to make my bi-weekly appearance on the show. Got a soldier along with me tonight. Man, I know it's a crazy day. No, it's a crazy day.
It was a crazy night last night.
We gotta stop this hip hop versus comedy shit, man. We gotta stop this shit. I love both. It's hard for me to pick, you know. But yeah, let me just get one thing out the way real quick. I just want to give a shout out to CCGG View and Uptown Jig, the Chopper City Gorilla Gang. Listen, yeah, I would fuck with them regardless because of BG. But bro, this dude, his name's View, CCGG View, Chopper City Gorilla Gang View. He got this album. It's called Life of a Ghetto Soldier. Bro, so far it's the top of my list of best albums I've heard this far. It's a great album. He ain't paying me to say this. He ain't, you know, I don't owe him no favor, nothing, bro. Like I said, of course I'd rock with him because that's BG people. But, bro, that album is fire. Life of a Ghetto Soldier. It's on every streaming service. His Instagram handle is CCGGView, VIEW. I'm telling you, man, check that album out. At the end of the show, we were going to play a song from that album, and it was hard for me to pick just one song, to be real with you, so I kind of just picked a random song because they're all dope from start to finish. It's a great album. So, you know, if you're on Instagram or whatever, follow them, CCGG View and CCGG Jig, Jigg. So they're Chopper City Gorilla Gang. That's Jizzle's people. You know, free BG. Shout out to his mom, Cynthia, and his Aunt Carol as well. Shout out to Hakeem. Everybody, man. Shout out to BG. Coming home soon, man. Coming home soon. BG's going to be back very soon. And, man, I've been playing free BG so fucking long, man. I can't wait till he's home, man. Like, fuck the music, bro. I don't even care if he never make another album, man. Like, for those of us that did time and shit, like, man, I'm just looking forward to, like, a post. Like, his mom's my Facebook friend, man. I just can't, like, that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm just looking forward to a post from Cynthia, you know, giving BG a hug, man. Like, I just want him to be with his people, man. Like, of course I want new music, but I just want him to be home, man. Like, that's real shit, you know.
And,
yeah, it's been a long
time
coming.
Man, tell us who we got on the line tonight, man.
Oh, man, we got a dude that's a legend in two cities, Chattanooga and New Orleans. Got a name of Maal the Pimp, the legend. Are you on the line right now?
Yes, sir.
Let's bring him on, man. Maal the Pimp. Welcome to Off the Cuff Radio, man. What's good, soldier?
I appreciate that, man. Appreciate y'all for having me, man, for sure. I appreciate that.
Man, look, you know, we got to keep it trill, man. Got to keep it trill for down bottom, man. You look, it's all for a love for the South, man. It's always a pleasure to have one of its most esteemed, distinguished, and dope representatives, which is you, with us, man. Thank you for joining us.
For sure, man. I appreciate that love, dog. For sure.
Oh, I know you got your own podcast, bro, and we are going to promote it. I want you to talk about your podcast. I'm sure you're going to touch on this. To be honest, bro, this is how I actually heard about the incident. I fell asleep last night. I woke up and you had tagged me in a post about the Will Smith Chris Rock situation. Let's get that out of the way.
Yeah, let's do it.
You crazy.
I brought you on the show just to talk about Will Smith and Chris Rock. No, but what was your initial reaction to that when you saw it? Did you think it was fake? Like what did you think when you first saw it?
No, I knew it wasn't fake. Men don't play like that. You don't slap somebody in the face and say that's staged. That ain't nah. So I knew it wasn't fake when I saw it. Then you see his whole demeanor, his body language. He was dead ass serious. I knew that shit wasn't fake. Yeah, I knew that.
When I just saw the slap, I wasn't sure, but like when I saw like afterwards, like when he was keep my wife's name, like just the look on his face, I'm like, man, this ain't no scripted bullshit. You know what I mean?
He was dead serious. He was dead serious. Yeah, he was dead serious. You can see it in his face.
Man, you got to think about it.
Do you think some of like the jokes that have been being played on Will for like the past couple of years has something to do with that?
I don't know where he was at mental with that. I can't say because I ain't him. But you can tell he had some shit on his chest though. Because that wasn't a normal Will Smith reaction from the Will Smith that we're used to seeing. You follow what I'm saying? So he definitely had some shit on his chest. He definitely had some shit on his chest and to go out there and go all the way with it like that.
Imagine smacking somebody on national TV for the world to see. That's some different static right there.
It's the Oscars. This wasn't just national TV. Yeah. You know, that was national TV. That was the Oscars.
From eyewitness accounts, they said like when the joke was first dropped, you know, he had chuckled a little bit, but then like they said, Jada was hot. Like, she was like, "Nigga, I am not feeling this," and that's when he realized, okay, like this is escalated to another level, and that's when he went up there. But it's like what Pat was saying, like King was saying, when you look at everything that man has been through over the past 2 years, the stuff which you could argue has been a culmination of the past 20 in terms of stuff that has been going on, about his kids, about, their personal life in terms of how their marriage is,
I think there was a percentage of that in there. Like, people think, I just think, like, Will's too prideful of a man, and, like, over these past couple of years, the whole August Alsina thing, maybe he felt like, man, people think I'm sweet out here. And because that joke wasn't that bad to warrant that, in my opinion.
That Philly came out quick.
Yeah. And,
man, this is what I think, though, bro. This is what I think. Like, I think, man, this is what I think. I think people get shit twisted. Like, see, and I don't know what he was on. I'm just saying, it's on the outside looking in. And especially with his entertainment shit, like, people get shit twisted when it comes to the internet shit. Because people get on the internet and say whatever because they don't have to see you in person. You follow what I'm saying? So if a motherfucker get on the internet and say whatever they say about you, if you on some grown man shit, you're not gonna entertain that internet shit. You're just gonna let it go. Yeah. You follow what I'm saying? So all you're gonna say they saying is on the internet. When I catch you in person, you're gonna see you have that same energy. You follow what I'm saying? So the internet got people thinking they can get away with saying anything. Not saying that he was wrong or right for saying that joke, but I'm saying what you say on the internet is one thing. You saw what he did in person when he felt disrespected. You follow what I'm saying? It's two different things. And that same joke would have got told on the internet, it probably wouldn't have been nothing to it. It probably would have been ignored or blah, blah, blah. They would have went back and forth on some Twitter shit. When you say that same shit to a motherfucking person and they feel disrespected, they act on it. And I think that's what people saw right there. People are so used to this entertainment game being letting people get away with saying whatever they want to say about you. And I ain't saying he's right for doing that, and I ain't saying he's wrong. I'm just saying in general, when it comes to entertainment, people are used to people just saying shit and letting people get away with it. When a motherfucker finally react and do what you would normally do, it's surprising because you ain't used to seeing that in these modern days.
Yeah, exactly. It's foreign to them. Because they so used, like I said yesterday, they so used to hearing niggas, introducing people to the Frank stand. I'm going to piss on your mom's casket. I'm going to cut your daddy head off, all that crazy shit. So when somebody get checked for what they say, it's like foreign. They like, where this come from?
And I pray that
I ain't got no right or wrong opinion on it. I'm just not surprised by it. I ain't gonna say you're wrong, right?
That's
I just
one
not surprised
thing.
By it.
I hope comes out of it. I hope people realize.
When you disrespect a dude, mama or his wife, it's fair game. It's fair game.
Exactly. And I
mama,
hope that's
wife,
one
or
thing
kids,
that people
anything
learn
could
from
possibly happen.
I hope people learn from this. All the people on the internet saying crazy shit and all that. I hope people learn from this. You can still get smacked in your fucking mouth. If Chris Rock, a comedy icon, can get smacked in his fucking mouth at the Oscars while hosting it, like backstage would have been wild. While he was hosting, he got smacked in his mouth. So I hope that's one thing that everybody gets out of this. You can still get smacked in your face for something crazy you say. Don't think you can just get away with saying that. That's one thing this generation seems to miss out on, is they don't get smacked in the mouth for talking crazy enough.
The Goon Bar, look, Pat, the Goon Bar has been raised with that one because, you know, like my man was saying, like Pimp was saying, when you're dealing with a situation of, because people, when you're thinking about, and we've seen this, you know, all of us have dealt in entertainment. We know people. So we know that a lot of these people in that business have a lot to lose in terms of, that's why a lot of these niggas out here, they don't get crazy because they know they got a lot to lose. I mean, even if you got the money to fight it, it's still the inconvenience of going to court. I mean, settlements, if it does go to court and it's a serious legal proceeding, so a lot of times that's really the only thing that stops a lot of people from going full throttle, you know, on the violence, because it's like they know
what he said, though. What Maul said, I agree with. And another thing that a lot of people aren't taking into account, man, we don't really know what Will was going through prior to. Will's a star, bro. He's not just some guy that got famous a year ago. This dude has been famous for a long time. I'm 36. I don't remember a time that Will Smith wasn't a star. Okay?
Right.
We don't know what dude went through. Who knows? Chris might have said some crazy shit to Will last year at a party, and that something was bottling up about him and something. Like, we don't really know everything that went into that. It wasn't just that joke. That's what I think anyway. I don't think or if it was just that joke, there was other shit into that emotion that made it. Will's not just going to go on stage at the Oscars over a bad joke. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so
that was a combination of some other shit.
Yeah, I don't want to convict Will.
As somebody would say on the internet, and we know him well, if somebody slapped me on the face, we got to get out. You know what I'm saying? We got to go down like that. Like, man, I mean, you taking a slap.
At the same time, though, if you put yourself in Chris Rock's shoes, I don't look at him like a punk or anything because of that. Because, like, even though he's done it many times, you're still nervous. You're hosting the Oscars. When Will Smith just smacked you in the face, like, you got to be hella confused. You're still hosting the Oscars. You know any response is going to be viral. Like, you know, like, he had to think, like, man, this is going to be viral. It's going to be ever. So, like, his reaction, like, all that shit going through his mind in that moment, I don't, like, I'm not going to hate on anything Chris did to react to that because we don't know what it's like to be in that fucking situation. I would like to say if you smack me in my face, of course I'm going to come at you, but I'm not a fucking comedy icon hosting the fucking Oscars and in the middle of that get smacked in the face by another icon. I don't know what that mind state is like. So I can't, you know what I mean? Like, we all like to say, oh, I would do this, I would do that. As a man, I would do this. Bro, we're not in that mind state. I'm not going to condemn Chris as one thing or the other because I don't know what that mentality is like. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, you know, he kept his composure as much as he fucking could. I give him respect for that because he didn't try to shoot it to a commercial break or nothing. He tried to hold his own. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's a crazy situation. I mean, you know, I don't really waste too much time on that. We got Maal the fucking Pimp in the fucking building. You know, everybody's talking about Will and Chris Rock. Let's talk about Maal the fucking Pimp now. So let's get it started, Maul. So,
y'all remember that time when ODB ran up in the Grammys talking about how the Wu-Tang should have won because Puff Daddy 97
Puff, he's cool.
Puff Daddy. Yeah.
Puff, he's cool.
Wu-Tang is dude.
Wu-Tang is the best. Wu-Tang is for the children.
Puff, he's cool. Wu-Tang is for the children.
Rest in peace,
I love when wild
motherfuckers
like, take over like that, man. Like, y'all want to see some funny shit? Look up when Slim was at the Source Awards. Soulja Slim, you can just tell, man, he ain't no award show type of dude. He's in the back. Like, yeah, we're here. Like, he's wild as hell. It was just, I love that moment. Like, even 3 6 Mafia is Oscar shit. Like, they was some wild dudes, and like it was just cool seeing that shit. Like, that was some unfiltered type of shit. You know what I mean? I love that type of shit. You know what I mean? Like, there wasn't no Kanye West. But pick up all the Pimp and sit out Chattanooga, Tennessee, man. Like, let's give the people a quick summary of your music today, man. Like, you came up in Tennessee, and you're from Chattanooga. So,
all right.
What was the hip hop scene like in Chattanooga at the time when you was coming up?
It was when I came up in we had a bunch of artists down at the time. We had a bunch of independent artists, a bunch of labels, a bunch of solo artists, a bunch of groups. So we had a real big music scene when I was down here. You know what I'm saying? Which was a good thing because it kept the competition level up. Like if this person dropped, then 2 weeks later, you know this motherfucker's gonna drop. Then you know this motherfucker's gonna drop. So you couldn't be slacking on your shit, and your rap game had to be on point. You follow what I'm saying? This back in the day when you actually had to know how to rap to be a rapper. You don't have to know how to rap now. You follow what I'm saying? Yeah. You just go viral to be a rapper now. So I came from the era when there was a bunch of labels and a bunch of groups, and the skill set was and the bars were set real high, and the independent hustle was at an all-time max. So I come from the real deal underground independent scene. You feel me?
Well, yeah. To be honest, the way the first time I ever heard you, I don't even know if you're aware of this, but I heard you when I was actually locked up as a juvenile. This is probably like 2001, something like that. And you know who Green Wade is?
Green Wade?
Green Wade, yeah. GREEWADE. He's like a old dude.
I never heard.
I'm not sure where he's from.
I
know he's from Tennessee. He's from Tennessee. I think he's from Nashville, to be honest. But he was just in a magazine, and he was just talking about Tennessee artists. And he had said he just heard these cats on the tape, and he shouted out you and Don Nitty. I don't know if you know who Don Nitty is from Knoxville?
Yeah, he's from Knoxville. Yeah, I know who he is, yeah.
He had that joint with Bun B back in like 06, that Step Your Game Up or whatever. But Green Wade, I ended up interviewing him a few years ago too. But I had originally saw him in a magazine. It seemed like unsolicited shout outs, and he just shouted out you and Don Nitty, and I don't even remember who else. I was like, man, who's that dude? Well, then years and years later, like of course I heard Chopper City and all that, but that joint you did on that BG tape, that the Hollywood tape, that Time to Ride, which we're gonna play here. Right. We didn't already play it. That shit is just, that's a fire joint. But so like when you made that transition from, like you actually moved to New Orleans, correct?
Yeah, I moved down there. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All right. So when you moved from from Tennessee to New Orleans, how did you hook up with BG? Did you know him prior to moving to New Orleans? Or did you meet him in New Orleans?
No, I met him before then, but that was just on some random shit. We came to Tennessee for a concert, and I was out promoting my shit. We ran to each other at the club. Then I didn't come to New Orleans until 2 years later. And how I got down there was I came to New Orleans as an employee to work for Chopper City. A lot of people thought I was signed as an artist, but I wasn't. I was never signed under a contract. You follow what I'm saying? We just did a bunch of music together. But
right.
I graduated from college in 2004 from Middle Tennessee State University. I got a degree in recording industry music business. You follow what I'm saying? So a lot of people don't know that. I got a college degree in recording industry music business. So when I was graduating college, this was around the same time when he was leaving Cash Money to start his own situation. You follow what I'm saying? So I sent my resume out to 5 different labels. I sent it out to Chopper City. I sent it out to Cash Money. I sent it to Rap A Lot, Def Jam South, and Slip and Slide. You feel me? I sent it to all 5 of those labels. Slip and Slide and Chopper City called me back. I flew to Miami first to meet with Slip and Slide, and at this time, this one Trick Dad and Trina was real hot. You follow what I'm saying?
That's so I flew to Miami to meet with Slip and Slide, right?
Who was running Slip and Slide at that time? Was it the dude Luke? The last name's Lucas?
Ted Lucas
was running Slip and Slide at the time. Yeah, he was running Slip and Slide. So I went down there thinking I was gonna meet with him. To be honest with you, you know what I'm saying? I get down there to Slip and Slide, and an intern come out. You follow what I'm saying? The intern come out and sit down and ask me a few questions. Who do this and that? Never saw Ted Lucas. Never saw the artist. None of that. I flew from Slip and Slide in Miami to New Orleans the next day. Met with Chopper City. When I get to New Orleans, Carol Dorsett, the CEO, she was there for the meeting. Anthony Murray, his manager, was there. BG was there. You follow what I'm saying? So I'm looking at this like when I went to Slip and Slide, I never met the owner, never met the artist. I just did sent the intern out to talk to me. I come to Chopper City, the artist is there, the manager is there, and the CEO is there. So I felt more comfortable.
Professional.
You follow what I'm saying?
That's
I weighed out the first impression. The first impression was Slip. That's nothing against Slip and Slide. My first impression, when I weighed before I'm out, the New Orleans had the better first impression. You follow what I'm saying? Everybody was there, so that means they took me more serious. You follow what I'm saying?
Right.
They're supposed to send some fucking intern after talking to me. You did. So I met with them. We talked about what they was looking for and what I can bring to the table. And so the agreement was based, all right, come down here for 6 months as an intern, and after 6 months, if we like what we see, we'll hire you. You feel me? So I went back home, packed my shit. I moved to New Orleans the next week. You feel me? And I came in as an intern with no pay. You feel me? Came in, but I took over the whole office. I was answering all the phone calls. I'm pretty much running the office by myself, me and somebody else. So when the 6 months was up, they couldn't let me go back home because everything was pretty much coming through me. They had to hire me. You follow what I'm saying? So when they hired me, then from there, I was officially part of the team. And the rest came, you know, how everybody say the rest is history, I guess.
That was a smart move because the one thing I wanted to give you credit on is you understood the times. Like, this is like mid-2000s, and at that time, the streets wanted mixtapes. Mixtapes were a perfect way to promote your album and feed your streets at the same time, so you build your fans. And you knew that. I want to give you credit because you knew that. Because anybody that looks up your name, you'll see you got tapes with Drizzle, you got tapes with VL Mike. So you knew to take each piece of the Chopper City Boys, and flood the streets with mixtapes, VL Mike mixtapes, BG mixtapes. You understood the mixtape game and what it did for your actual album and shit. Because most BG fans at that point, like BG, of course, he's a platinum artist from Cash Money, but he was at a crucial time in his career. He had to live up, and you live without Cash Money. You know what I mean? And he was, you know, if he didn't do decent, he was, you know, it was over for him. He was, you know, you couldn't do without Cash Money, and people would forget about him. But I think you deserve a lot of credit for understanding that you understood that, oh, let's feed the streets with these mixtapes. And by the time the album comes out, he already got this, you know, he got the streets fucking with him from these mixtapes, that he's going to do numbers based on that. Plus, he's going to do all the numbers from just a casual fan as well. Like, oh, that's BG from the Hot Boys. But the people knew him from the street, the mixtapes. You know what I mean? The Chopper City mixtape era is a great era. You did a great job. Like, I know you had a big part in that. You did a great job.
I brought the mixtape game to Chopper City. They weren't doing it until I got there. You follow what I'm saying? That was my idea to do that.
I know.
That was my idea. They weren't doing that before I got there. Matter of fact, the first time I brought up doing a mixtape, his manager actually, Anthony, was like, no, man, we don't want to do that, man. If we put a mixtape out, it's going to make them not buy the album because they're going to buy the mixtape instead. I'm like, hell no, it don't work like that. It's going to help promote the album, bro. He didn't understand. I kept on forcing that shit, though. I'm like, we got all of these songs in the computer, man. What we going to do, just sit on them? You follow what I'm saying? We got 300 songs in the computer, and y'all come to the studio every day recording no shit. What we going to do with this? All these songs ain't going on the album. We need to put this shit on mixtapes and throw it out there to the streets. He didn't understand it at first. Then when he finally I kept on just yapping about it. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. He like, man, fuck it, let's do it. So the first mixtape we put out was a mixtape called Live from Chopper City. You feel me? I lined the songs up. Later Dog did the artwork. That was the first mixtape we ever put out right there. Once he saw the reaction from that right there, he was like, oh, okay, I get it now. We just kept coming after that, back to back. When DJs were called, they would want to get him to host the mixtapes. I would get him, the Chopper City Boys, to host other DJs' mixtapes across the country. I would send each DJ 5 or 6 exclusive songs, and then let them put the rest of the shit that they wanted to put on there with it. Before you know it, you got 40 to 50 BG mixtapes dropping in every region with different DJs. You follow what I'm saying? I put all that together, and then as a thank you to myself, I put my own songs on there too. So that's how come I'm on all his fucking mixtapes. Yeah.
Well, I mean, and that's about networking. We want to ask you this, Mal. Now, in terms of what you said earlier about your initial foray into the industry when you're actually, trying to get a job with it, how important is it that artists have to understand, the labels understand in professionalism from all sides in terms of while the music may be rambunctious and wild, when it comes to the paperwork and presentation, that it is paramount for a good impression professionally?
You said how important is that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm make sure. So you say how important it is to be professional, basically, is what you're saying, even though the lyrics are talking street shit.
Yes, sir. Because a lot of, because from our experiences, and we've been blessed to do this, and people like yourself, give us the game on it, and we've, we're not going to blast nobody up on the show, but we've had situations where we try to get in touch with artists, and they never got back with us, or what have you. And a lot of times, artists got to. Yeah, go ahead, please.
I see what you're saying now. Yeah, man, let me say professionalism, bro. That's like, and that go back to the saying that people always say. Y'all don't all heard it say 95% business, 5% talent, or 99% business, 1% talent. You feel me? Professionalism is what's, man, being unprofessional can fuck you up a whole lot of ways. And it's been situations where, I say it now, I wouldn't say this back then. There's been situations where, just like how you said, like, y'all couldn't get artists on the show or whatever, y'all reached out, it didn't reach back, and that's a bad look, right? You follow what I'm saying? They don't look right. Mm-hmm. That means the artist is not professional, or either somebody who's handling his business is not professional. But either way it goes, the person who's reaching out to him, if they can't get the job done, or they can't get the artist on the phone, that makes them look at the artist like, I'm not going to fuck with him the second time around because of what's going on now. We've had to save BG a few times in situations like that. You follow what I'm saying? More than a few times. You follow what I'm saying? I say it now because it's over and done with. It's been a few times where, things were supposed to get done and he didn't do, so I'll have to call and fix it up. You feel me? Say some shit that didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? Just for him to save face with a DJ, for him to not blow his relationship with the radio. You follow what I'm saying? Or not blow his relationship with a magazine. You feel what I'm saying? But that's where our teamwork came in. I know him. I know him as a person. So I know sometimes he might be later. Sometimes he just might not fucking show up. I know that. You follow what I'm saying? So me knowing this, if that happens, it's on me to go out to the people who he's supposed to show up for and fix it up.
Right.
Where they will still want to come back and do business again. That's the professional side of covering up unprofessionalism. You follow what I'm saying? So
right.
So basically, people who represent you can make or break you. That's why I say and that's why I say this all the time. Never, if you're an artist coming in the game, don't let your homeboy manage you. You follow what I'm saying? Let him be in the entourage. Let him hold the camera. Do not let your homeboy manage you. Managing people and doing all that shit, that's a whole other job and a whole other responsibility right there. And that can fuck you up.
I thank you for saying that because I interviewed, so I don't want to put him out there because he's a solid dude and I don't want to put the dude out there or anything, but Eric will know what I'm talking about whenever I tell this story. I had an interview with somebody who is a very dope artist, and everything was cool. I was messaging on date, time and day. Well, out of nowhere, this manager, who's really a family member, got involved. And they hit me at a weird time part of the day and pretty much put the gun to my head like, we got to do the interview now or it can't happen. So Eric wasn't around. I don't have the equipment to record or nothing, so I had to just improvise because I wanted this guest. It's a bigger name guest. So I want that in our archives. You know what I mean? So I had to improvise. So I had a spare phone, so the phone that I'm on talking to dude, I put on speakerphone and record with the other phone.
Right.
And while I'm doing the interview, it's out of nowhere this person butts in you got one more question left and stuff. And it just ended up being the wackest interview I ever did, and it hurt because I really fuck with the dude, and I know that the way me and him were talking prior, It was a solid thing. Like, I'm a legit dude, bro. Like, you can ask anybody I interviewed. If I tell you, like, yo, if you need me to plug something, need me to play a song, let me know. Like, and I live up to that every time, man. You know, and I mean that. And you'll see that, Maul. I rock with you. So, like, it could be a year from now if you're like, hey, bro, you think you could shout out my podcast? Or, yo, man, like, I got this song out. You need to play? Trust me, it'll get done. I live by that. You know what I mean? And he let somebody, which is a family member, and I could just tell, even by the way he responded and talked to me once we were on the line, I could tell that he was like, you know, he kind of wishes that third party wasn't there, but that person is a family member, so he doesn't know how to say that to them. You know what I'm saying? It kind of ruined the whole interview, and I don't even think Eric ever used it. I don't even think we ever put that interview up. And it's a shame, because it would have been a dope guest.
That's how the shit can fuck you up, man. You can have people around you handling your business, and they can fuck up a relationship or burn a bridge, and you don't know shit about it. You follow what I'm saying? You go to a room and everybody looking at you crazy because your man done said some bullshit that you never knew about. You never got to you. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's crazy because now when that dude has an album coming out and shit, I know I'm not Drink Champs. I know I'm not the Breakfast Club. I know you come on my show, you're not going platinum. I understand that. But, bro, we got 53,000, 54,000 subscribers. Even if 100 of those people see that shit and like the interview, they might download your shit. You don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, but now, like, next time dude has an album dropping, I'm not reaching out to him. I'm not putting him on the show just because of that last time.
His bridge.
So, like,
burned his bridge.
And it's a shame because dude was cool, but it's like I know that I got to put up with that other person to get it done, and it's just I don't want to do that because, like I said, man, just the whole thing just turned into something else. And, like, when you're out doing a live show, man, imagine if someone butted in right now out of the blue and was like, you got one more question for Maal the Pimp. You know, I'm thinking from, like, radio point of view, and we're putting this shit on YouTube, like, all right, man, like, what's the best question I could ask? Maybe we could clip it up and get some views or blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's just like, man, I don't, you know what I mean? It's just like those who ask and just ruin the whole thing, you know? Like,
I know what you mean, yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of people, like, they let people that they love get in the middle of what their business is, and that's what ruins it for them. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't know how to shut that person down. You know what I mean? They're like, I give you the credit for being an artist and being the behind-the-scenes guy to make those moves, man, because that has to be a tough thing to manage, both of them, to be a reputable person behind the scenes and also focus on your own career. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not just some dude that raps. Like, this shit's dope, bro. Like, right. Anybody that heard your music knows your shit's fire. So for you to put your career to the side to focus on how to represent everybody and do the best moves for everybody else, man, like, it has to be a tough thing to manage. You know what I'm saying? So I give you respect for that.
Actually, it's not, bro, because it ain't tough. It's a lot of work, but it ain't tough for me because this is what I do. I'm cut from this type of cloth, bro. You follow what I'm saying? So the shit is like second nature to me. I just break my day down to 24 hours in a day. X amount of hours I'm gonna spend on this. X amount of hours I'm gonna spend on this. X amount of hours I'm gonna spend on this. But everything is gonna get handled. What I don't do today, that goes on my calendar and my to-do list to finish tomorrow. Like the shit was easy, bro. Like I would do the shit I need to do with BG, and then I would handle my own shit after that. You follow what I'm saying? And it worked out.
And I see the shit you did with Dizzle and VL Mike and everything. Like, does that come from like what you did with, you know, like Vinny the Shark and Smoke Dogg and everything? Like, so was this always just what you did? You had your artist career, but you also like did the putting on other people thing too?
Yeah, I've always done that. Yeah, I've always done it like that. Yeah, I can manage both at one time without coming across like I'm trying to put myself over the artist. You got your lane, I got my lane. You can go your way, I can go my way. Then we need to come together and do some shit to make it big. We can do that too. You feel me? Well, I was able to do BG and me, and never shortchange him not one time. I was able to do Vinny the Shark and me, and never shortchange him not one time. You follow what I'm saying? Because I know what I'm doing. I'm a genius when it comes to this type of shit. Straight up.
And that's real, man.
I know how to market and promote and do my own shit.
And that's real because, you know, Mal, because we met so many people along the way, on and off air, and, you know, it's hard for a lot of people to do what you do because it's about putting yourself second and the artist first. And, you know, what you and Pat and King were talking about how you can't have family involved. Well, how you have to be very careful about who you have close to you involved because this is a job. And then sometimes, inevitably, jealousy can creep in. You got some people wanting to be bigger than the people that they're supposed to be managing and or representing. And that's where a lot of the, and, you know, because you always got that one person in the crew who going to feel like it should be them, you know, in terms of they may do what they do musically, and then they mad at that person done got ahead, or you got someone that don't do shit but feel like they deserve everything that the person doing all the work did. And that's where you start having those internal turmoils that end up tearing shit apart, and in the worst case, people lose their life behind. You know, look at what happened with Selena back in the day with her manager. You know, her own manager had her, you know, killed her. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's.
It's a crazy business, man. It's a crazy business. I want to give you the respect you deserve, man, for being able to, like you understood that being dope is only a fraction of it. Just being dope is not enough to make it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that you always understood that. To be able to focus on how to, you know, get your shit out there and be a successful artist, to also be able to put on other people, manage other people, because like I said, with BG, man, like I give you a lot of credit for that because he wasn't just some other rapper. Like BG he's loved by a lot of people. Like I love Jizzle. Like BG could beat up my sister and I'd be like, oh, BG though. Like she talks too much. Like I love Jizzle. Like he a legend, and like especially at that time in his career, it was all or nothing with him. If he released a trash joint, people might not have fucked with him after that because they would have been quick to jump on him like, see, he ain't shit without Wayne and Baby and the Hot Boys and shit. So he was at a crucial time in his career, and I think that you understood that. You understood how to put out the mixtapes, put out the albums, deal with everything, and to step in and do that while you're an artist as well, but I give you credit, man, because you succeeded. You and BG succeeded. And there's a lot of BG fans out there that, like, didn't even really, like, you know, at that time there was a lot of new hip-hop fans. People were growing up. There's a large percentage. There might be a lot of fans out there that don't really remember BG with the Hot Boys. They know the Chopper City Boys BG. And that's a testament to your work. To you and BG, you guys made a new identity for BG. He was no longer BG from the Hot Boys. He was BG. BG, you know, Chopper City Boys. Like,
he kept it pushing.
He came with a whole different identity.
Pushing.
Oh, what's about somebody else just said something? What'd you say, bro?
Yeah, I was saying what was dope about BG was he kept it pushing because when people. Well, Fresh produced like almost everything that he put out on when he was on Cash Money. So usually when artists
he did everything.
Yeah, everything. So usually when artists leave, like I'm gonna give y'all a good example. Like y'all remember with J. Rue the Damager, he had Primo produce all his shit, his first 2 albums. Then when he went and left Primo, shit just went south. So with BG, he could have went through that, but yet he found a niche in his sound. Like he had one that cold deliveries. That what made him so dope. And he had a supporting cast that could keep the sound fluid. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. That Maul, you deserve a lot of credit because, like I said, like what he was just saying, that this was the first time BG had to worry about producers and who's making this song and all that. Before it was just Fresh doing everything. And BG, I'm sure you understood as well that he can't be BG from the Hot Boys anymore. This is the time in his career where he's BG. He's not Cash Money BG. He's not Hot Boy BG. So to be able to put out the quality of music and to make his image as BG and no longer Cash Money Records BG, that was a hard thing to do, especially because Juvie had already went through that. So now it's like, BG, can you do it? And if he would have failed, well, he might not be where he ended up. I mean, like, of course, like, BG is not, you know, he's in prison right now, but I'm talking about career-wise. BG is a legend, and BG has a legendary career on multiple fronts, whether you want to look at the Hot Boys or after. But if he wouldn't have done what he did in the mid-2000s, that whole thing could have been a whole different story. So for you guys to be able to put together the quality of music and to erase that stigma of this is Cash Money BG and to make him just BG, well, you guys all deserve a lot of credit because that's hard to shake off when you're that successful and attached to that type of fame and that successful of a label to be able to go on your own and put out music. If one of those mixtapes y'all put out was whack, who knows what the rest of the story would be right now. But you guys didn't. You marketed it the right way. You guys made the right moves. And everybody involved deserves a lot of credit for that because that, you know, that wasn't just some sure luck type thing. You guys were calculating. You guys did the right moves, made the right moves. And I think he made a smart move by getting somebody like you that wasn't selfish. And was able to put your time and effort.
Can't lose them all the pimp in your corner. Can't lose them all the pimp in your corner. You ain't gonna lose.
Yeah. You know, and that's hard to do, man. I tip my cap to you, man, because for you as an artist, I understand that you're working with BG and you know, you gotta make the right moves for him. That's a hell of a selfless move on your point. You know what I mean? Because you didn't look at it like, oh, I got BG from the Hot Boys. I'm going to just use his name for my own fame and shit. You didn't do that at all, man. You wanted to make sure everybody was cool and you knew you stood on your own because you knew you was dope too. So if everybody was
I had a name before I came. I was a somebody before I came to New Orleans. You follow what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah.
I was already, So I definitely knew him to go. You know, I was already established. So it was just, you know, he didn't need me, I didn't need him, so it was just a perfect match.
It takes a selfless move to, you know what I mean? Like, because you understood that if one of us eat, we all eat. And now everybody in the Chopper City, I know everybody from the Chopper City Boys. And everybody has their own fan base, whether some might be bigger than others and everything. But because of those moves back then, that's why those fan bases were built. You know what I'm saying? That was all hard work and a lot of brain power and everything from you, EG, everybody on the team. And I salute you for that.
I appreciate that, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
So what's going on nowadays, man? Are you still doing some music, or are you? I know you got your own podcast now.
Yeah. I'm always recording and writing this shit. I just my last album, my last solo project came out I think last year. Called Nothing But Respect. That was my last full body work that I put out. Just recently, a few months ago, I did a feature in a video for an artist named Cornelius Wright. He's from Tennessee, but he's based out of California. He's dropped a new album. I forgot the name of his album, but the name of the song I was on was called Shine. That was the lead single off of his album. So he sent me the song from California. I knocked it out for him, sent it back to him. Then he came in town. I was like, man, I want to shoot a video for it. So he came from California to Tennessee to shoot the video for it. Or whatever. So that was my last visual right there, was a feature with that guy called Shine. You follow what I'm saying? So that's on the internet right now. It's actually in heavy rotation on Power in the Fort right here in Chattanooga. You follow what I'm saying? So music is going to always be something I'm doing because I'm an artist at heart. Now, of course, I'm branding and remarketing myself with this podcast, and I got a talk show also. You follow what I'm saying? So I've been focusing mainly on my podcast and my talk show. But the musical is going to always be there. I'm always have that in my heart to do that. You follow what I'm saying? I'm just doing other shit. So the podcast.
I watched those links you sent me. Those links you sent me, I like those. The podcast and everything, I like those, man.
Okay. All right.
How'd you get into the podcast game, man?
Because it's crazy. people have been telling me I should do something like that, the podcast, because I got a lot of relationships with people in the industry and all that shit. So it'd be easy for me to get guests on that because I know everything about it. You follow what I'm saying? So getting guests wasn't gonna be a problem. When I was always told, y'all do a talk show, y'all do a podcast, blah blah blah, I would always just brush the shit to the side. I had a bunch of shit going on. I'm always traveling, so I was like, I ain't got time to sit down and do no shit like that. And reach out to motherfuckers and hope that they want to do it. I ain't feel like doing all this shit. Then, crazy, the pandemic hit, and we couldn't travel. We couldn't go nowhere.
Yeah.
So what can I do while I'm sitting at home? Damn, let me do that podcast people was talking about I would do. You follow what I'm saying? So I think this started probably around 2020 right here. Once we had to sit down, when we couldn't fly, couldn't travel, couldn't do none of that shit. That's when I started writing my notes down. Like I'm gonna call it Pimp Holler TV podcast. I wrote down the guests I want to reach out to. I just started reaching out to people. Just reaching. Then the shit just started coming together. You follow what I'm saying? But I probably would have never took the time to sit there and do it if we went through that pandemic. I would have been using the excuse of I'm too busy, I'm always moving, I ain't got time to do that shit. And when the pandemic hit, I had time to do it, and I focused on it then. You follow what I'm saying? Yeah.
It's dope. I like your podcast. I like that shit, man, for real. Keep that up, man, because you got good content.
You see, the thing about my shit, though, is like, even though I'm a rapper, entertainment, it's not just rappers that's on my podcast. You follow what I'm saying? I have different guests that come from different walks of life. I'm going to have a rap on there. I'm going to have a sing on there. I just interviewed a judge last week. You follow what I'm saying? A mayor candidate, marriage and sex therapist, a dental hygienist, police. You follow what I'm saying? Like, I've interviewed all kind of people all across the board. You follow what I'm saying? So it's not just for entertainment. It's more, I like to educate people. You follow? Like I had when I interviewed this judge last week, right? They just came out this week. I'm asking the judge questions that we want to know as people in the street. Like, when somebody come in your courtroom and you give them a life sentence, do that shit bother you, or do you just give it to them like it ain't nothing because it's a job?
Oh, yeah.
You follow what I'm saying? Yeah. When you get somebody 140 years, do you go home feeling bad about that, or you look at it like, fuck it, it's the job? How do you feel about that as a judge? Explain that. You feel me?
Yeah.
Or I ask some shit like, how credible is the testimony of a snitch? When a snitch come in your courtroom and testify and say that dude killed somebody, will you take that snitch's word with full credibility, knowing that he's going to say anything to get his time cut? How do you look at that when you see that type of shit?
Yeah, when I was young, man, the judge handed me 8 years, and I think I was still 19 at the time, and like it was a female judge, and like when she was sentencing me, man, like I just got this feeling from her that like she really didn't want to sentence me to that much time. And I had also had like a federal case behind me that I ended up just getting. I got 2 years. I did 20 months. So I was doing like 10 years. You know what I mean? I was young, man. I was only 19 years old. And I was about to do 10 years. Like, and I had a violent crime, so it's like I got to do it at maximum security. And then when I'm done with it, I got to go do 2 years in a federal joint. When you're in the feds, man, like I'm from Pittsburgh, man. I might do my time in fucking Mississippi. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you never know where you're going and shit. And when I'm in sentenced as a young kid, man, like, you know, you're still a young kid. I never did like big boy time. I was like in placement and all that shit before that, but I never really did like prison time before. You know what I'm saying? So like all that shit's new, and like I could tell like when the judge was sentencing me, man, like there was something like just told me though, like she did care. You know what I'm saying? But like her hands were tied. Like it's her job. Like what can she do? She can't just send me home. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's cool that you have judges on, man, because that shit is like, you know, like I did a lot of time in my life. I'm not proud of that shit at all. I'm glad that I'm away from that life now. But like, those are questions I've always wondered. Like, you know, just being a young kid getting sentenced to 8 years, like I could tell that female judge, like, because my mom was behind me and everybody, so I knew that like there was something in her that like hurt to like. She knew I was a good dude, but I made a dumbass mistake as a kid. Like, and I think she knew that, but I could see that in her. But she has to do her job and has to be cold-blooded about it. You know what I mean? But like, I've also seen the flip side of that, where I've seen judges just knock people on the head, and you don't get like an emotional sense from them. You know what I'm saying? I've seen somebody get 2 consecutive 4 to 8s for 2 drug sales of fake crack. So this dude got 8 to 16 years for some Dove soap. You know what I'm saying? And when the judge sentenced him, right, like I was next, and the judge sentenced him. And I'm telling you, man, I didn't pick up no emotion from that dude at all. That judge was like 2 4-day consecutive courts adjourned. You know what I mean? He just moved on. Like, I was like, damn, man, like, how can you be cold like that? You know what I mean? Like, if I locked you in a bathroom for 5 minutes, I'd feel bad. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
right.
Crazy sentences, you know what I mean? So, like, you know, it takes a different animal to do that. You know what I'm saying? And, like, that's cool that you had a judge on to ask him those questions, because we come from a different perspective. So it's cool to, like, you know, that's cool, like, that you had a judge on, because, like, just that attitude of fuck the cops, fuck the judge, fuck the... Well, that's just not a productive and logical way of thinking. You know what I mean? Like, so, like,
that's true.
How many of us really sat and thought, like, wait, man, like, from my life experience and my perspective, of course I don't like the police and the judge and blah, blah, but wait, like, what about that judge? Like, what about her life, man? Like, is there a reason why she pursued this? Why does she care so much? Like, that's cool that you ask those questions, because a lot of people, especially in, like, the hip-hop community, they want to be, you know, the gangster that don't give a fuck about the law and all that. But no, man, we need that conversation for things to ever change. We have to understand everybody's point of view and everybody's perspective, because you might say something to that judge that she never thought of. So when it comes time to sentence somebody, that might click in her head. Like, oh, wait, you know what? I never even thought of that before. You know what I'm saying? Like, so conversations are important. You know what I'm saying? Like, that judge that
the
I
whole
was just
point of
talking
having on
about.
there was to educate people, man. And I told her that before I got on there. I want to pick your brain as a judge. I want to see how y'all think. Because people need to know how y'all think.
You might have said something to that judge.
We got a one-track mind the way we look at y'all.
Yeah. You might have said something to that judge that you might not have thought anything of. It was just something that you naturally think, and you just said it to her, that might end up hitting her 6 months from now. She might be like, damn, man, when I was on that podcast, man, that dude said this to me. I never even thought of shit like that. And a case could come in front of her, and she could think of that and be like, you know what? I'm not going to knock this dude's head off. You know what I mean? I'm like, you know,
I
like...
hope so.
And that's important to do, man. Like, you know, people have this, you know, like, of course, we all was there, fuck the police, fuck, you know, all that shit, but it's like, man, like, we know we're never going to get to a point where it's like, all right, cops don't exist no more. We already know that. So it's important for us to get over that immature way of thought, is just like, fuck the police. Like, no. And a conversation is important.
Word.
Us to, you know, and that's important, because you never know what you're gonna, where you can hear. You know, take jewels from wherever you can get them, and to have conversations with people you would have never dreamed of having a conversation with. That's important, because you might hear something from a perspective that you never heard before that might change your life, and vice versa. You might say something to that cop, that judge, that probation officer, whatever. You might say something to them that they never thought of, and it could change things. Maybe it'll just change for one person. Who knows?
You just got to learn how to bridge them gaps. That's the whole point of me. Bridge. I like to bridge the gaps, man, to put people in other people's mindset. You heard
dialogue.
me?
Yeah, and dialogue is important, because when you're dealing with certain people coming from different walks of life, whether the criminal or the justice, or just people, or the have and the have-nots, there are different experiences. We all have a different trek, which equates to a certain level of education, because I'm not going to say lack thereof, because we're all educated in certain levels. It's just either good habits or bad habits in what we choose to engage in. But we have to understand that before anything, we're all human. And those experiences shape us as human beings as to how we're going to deal with things, you know, and I think that's why those conversations are pertinent. Like y'all said, we have to communicate our sensibility, you know, our concerns, our sensibilities, our feelings about where we're at a particular time in reference to the decisions that we make, as to whether somebody does wrong or the person is sentencing them for doing wrong. And that is very important. That was deep. That was deep what y'all was saying.
To be a hip-hop artist and have a podcast and be willing to have police and judges and stuff like that as guests on your podcast, that takes a lot of balls, for one, because you're going to have people like, fuck that, he's talking to judges and police, I ain't watching that shit. You're going to have hard-headed people like that. But for you to stand on that and be like, no, man, we need to have this dialogue and to let them share their views and their perspective, that's important, man. Like, that's important. Even if it just changes one life, man, that's important. You know what I'm saying? Like, so for you to open your platform to every walk of life, man, that's super fucking dope. And I salute that more than for sure. I salute that more than just the music that I fuck with them, like that's some real life shit. And I salute that. Let everybody know where they can hear your podcast and everything out, man.
Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Pimpaholic TV. That's my YouTube channel, Pimpaholic TV. And in the Pimpaholic TV YouTube channel, you'll see the Pimpaholic TV podcast. You follow what I'm saying? Multiple guests, multiple guests. And also, which is a part of my Pimpaholic TV YouTube channel, I have a talk show. I had a talk show separate from the podcast. The podcast is me doing one-on-one interviews with whoever that guest is for that week. My talk show, I have a talk show that's called Table Talk with MTP, The Great Debate. That's the name of my talk show, Table Talk with MTP, The Great Debate. And I talk about topics that are debatable topics that can go across the board between men and women. I usually have 3 or 4 men on there, 3 or 4 women on there, and we talk. Like, for example, I just filmed episode 10 2 weeks ago. It hadn't came out yet, but episode 1 was called Why Do Men and Women Cheat? You feel me? Men, we got our own thoughts about why women cheat, and they just got their own thoughts about why they think we cheat. You follow what I'm saying? So imagine that dialogue going back and forth between men and women. The second episode was called Should a Man Take Care of Kids That's Not His? You follow what I'm saying? I have men and women on there. And talking about, different reasons of why not, or whatever. Another episode was called Is Oral Sex a Must in a Relationship? That was real nice right there. You follow what I'm saying? Is oral sex a must in a relationship? Another one was if a woman hits a man, do he got the right to hit her back? You feel me? So all these just topics, they'll be considered debatable topics across the board. You follow what I'm saying? And one of the big ones, one of the ones that a lot of people tuned in for was called the subject matter for this show was called If a Man Proposes and a Woman Says No, Should a Relationship Be Over With?
Oh, that's something.
All these are debatable topics.
Man, and that's a great topic, though, because I always wondered that shit, man. Like, where do you from there? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I dropped down on my knees in front of the whole restaurant, 20,000 people. I pulled this ring out. I've been saving up for 5 years for, and you say no. Am I supposed to stay?
Yeah.
Or do I leave?
And you can see it from all different views. Like, because on your end, like, man, I did this in front of everybody, and you said no. So now you're, as a man, fuck that girl. But, like, the girl might be like, nah, man, I want to be with you and shit, but, like, why do we got to make that step right now? Let's wait, like, another 2 years or something. Like, that's a good topic, man, because I always wondered that myself, because I guess it would go, man, there's all different things you can say, but I guess it depends on the relationship itself, but that's a good topic, man. I'm going to check that out. Speak on what I would do. I'm going to check that
all these shows
out.
on my all these are on my Pimpaholic TV YouTube channel. And the topic I just named, that's for the talk show. The topic I just named, y'all, this is for my talk show, which is called Table Talk with MTP. That's separate from the Pimpaholic TV podcast. It's 2 different things. You follow what I'm saying? 2 different things. Oh, and another topic which I think did the most numbers, matter of fact, I'm thinking about it, this topic did the most numbers. It was called Undercover Gay Men Who Claim to Be Straight.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Killed a lot of motherfuckers with that. Had a lot of people looking crazy and looking guilty on that motherfucker, yeah. Undercover gay men out here walking around acting like they straight. Yeah. Picture that, how that went.
And Jones got wild with that one, did he?
Picture how that went. Yeah. So y'all need to go check this out. Now, these are all my life. This is shit I'm doing separate from the music right here. You follow what I'm saying? And that's why I've been focusing on that a lot right there, because that's been working for me. You feel me? The podcast and the talk show. And the talk show is so good because I have 7 to 8 guests, and I have 3 or 4 men and 3 or 4 women, and everybody is expressing their opinion across the board. So that's where the term the great debate comes in at. You follow what I'm saying? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm on right there, man.
You're going straight for the front with them topics, man. I like it. Some good topics, boy. And on the hip hop side of things, man, I seen that you had. I have a short list. I've interviewed a lot of people, man. We all have, all 3 of us. Yeah, I got to interview some people that I would have never imagined, man. Like, legendary people, man. Like, my favorite interview of all time probably is Dr. Dre from Yo MTV Rap. That was just a hip hop head talking to that dude and the man.
Y'all interviewed him?
Love that guy.
Okay,
man.
That's cool. That was cool. Y'all interviewed Dre?
I did, yeah. I interviewed him. I interviewed like DJ Paul from 3 6 Mafia, Spice One. We all interviewed a bunch of people, man. You know what I mean? But one dude that I never got that I saw on your show, man. He's on my short list. Is KLC. Man. I got
that's my nigga right there. Yeah.
Yeah, I had DJ Daryl from Beats by the Pound, and I had Fiend and Servon and.
Whoa, you say DJ who from Beats by the Pound? DJ who?
DJ Daryl. He's the one that he did the Tupac shit too.
What's the name? I can't hear the name. DJ who?
Daryl.
Daryl, okay. I never heard of him. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he did some shit with Tupac too, but he was in Beats by the Pound. And I had him, and I had Fiend and Servon, and I never had KL though, man. I need KL. I'm going after.
Yeah, that's my guy. Yeah.
That's a bone. That's a brain right there, because that man was like, to us, it's like this is a very obscene. It's not obscene, but it's a comparison that I like to make. This guy could be considered like the Quick of the South because he has a unique sound. Like it's a signature, unique sound.
For us to like love Slim and BG and like New Orleans in general, there's nobody above KL in our minds. Like when people talk about Dr. Dre, The Alchemist, Premier, but KL's in that conversation for us. That we grew up listening to that type of music. Like when we know what he's capable of. We look at KL as he's a genius in our eyes, and like. He might not get the notoriety of the DJ Premiers and Pete Rocks and Dr. Dre and everything, but for us to grow up on that soldier music, Slim, Mystical, No Limit, BG, all that, like KL is, he's number one.
I mean, About It. I mean, I remember the first time I heard About It, and I was like, whoa.
And like, look, like, to me, like, You Got It by Soulja Slim and Six Shot, there was the part 2 with Mia X, but the original one was Slim and Six Shot.
Right.
To me, man, that is, I mean, you name, like, the most iconic beats ever. Like, Havoc has his Shook ones. Dre has, a million joints, but, name a Dre beat. A Premier has his signature beat and signature sound. You Got It, that's a classic to me. That like when I hear that beat, that's a classic to me. And About It is another one. And KL has a few joints that are just like, they're timeless. If you told me they came out today, I would believe you. You know what I mean? But like to think that somebody came out in 1994, like that's just wild. Like the shit that man was doing. And like the sounds he was making before anybody was doing that shit, man, like he's incredible, man. And like to be honest, man, he just released his album with the drum major.
Yeah.
He got songs on there with like, with Slim and Snoop and Groovy and all kinds of people on the record. To be honest,
man, like sitting on right there.
Yeah, like people that know KLC, like no, but that's not even close. I mean, that don't get me wrong, that album's dope, but that ain't even close to what that man can do. Like, anybody that really knows KLC will tell you, like, well, he is ill, and I will put him up there. I'll go to my grave saying that KLC he's as dope as you can get, man. I mean, I love hip hop, bro. I love Jay Dilla. I love, Pete Rock, all that. I love all those guys. I'm telling you, KLC is. You can't get more talented than KLC. You just can't. He's something different, and he's the man behind the sound of all the music that we love, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He's the sound of Soulja Slim, man. Period. That's all I gotta say. You know what I'm saying? He's the Soulja Slim sound. You know what I mean? But Maul, I don't want to hold you up all night or nothing, brother. So, we're gonna close the show out with a joint from you. I think you all might put together a soldier, man. But let me go ahead and give you the floor. I want you to shout out your, where to find all your stuff, all your podcast music, all your social media handouts. Handles, I mean, and when you're done, man, we'll send you out.
All right, man, check this out, man. Y'all, listen, this is y'all need to do. First, go to my website. Go log on to my website, www.maalthepimp.com. That's my website. First and foremost, go to that, www.maalthepimp.com. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is called Pimpaholic TV. You can see all my podcast interviews and plus all my upcoming and past episodes, my talk show, Table Talk with MTP. That's on my YouTube channel, Pimpaholic TV, so go subscribe to that. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, @Maal the Pimp. Instagram and Twitter, @Maal the Pimp. You can hit me up on Facebook, Maal the Pimp, a.k.a. MTP. That's my artist page on Facebook. And you just want to be on some nosy shit, you just want to see what's going on with me, Google me. Go to Google, type in Maal the Pimp, and look at all the millions of things that pop up. Go to YouTube, type in Maal the Pimp, look how many pages of videos are going to pop up. I'm all over the place. If you want to contact me, you can send me a DM on Instagram, send me an inbox on Facebook. If you're talking about the right kind of business, I'll respond to you. Or you can email me, maalthepimp423@gmail.com. So there's no way not to fuck with me. Email, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, my website, I'm all there. You follow what I'm saying? Maal the Pimp, a.k.a. MTP. Don't holler back at me unless you're bringing dollars back at me. That's my slogan right there.
Hit that subscribe button, man.
Eric, don't hang up, man. But Maal, again, I can't thank you enough for doing this, man. And anything you ever need me to plug or you want to come back on the show, anything at all, man. I got you, man. Just hit me up.
No problem, bro.
Definitely, man.
I appreciate y'all for having me, man. Thank y'all.
Definitely, man. We appreciate you so much. Thank you again.
No problem at all, bro. No problem.
All right.
Take care, Maal. Yo, Eric T, man. I know we're about to sign off here, man. If you guys don't mind, just give me the floor for 1 second.
No problem, man.
First and foremost, man, I want to thank you guys for letting me have Maal the Pimp on, man. You guys always let me do my thing. We got April 6th, as long as Magnolia Sam comes out with his album, we're going to do a little episode for Sam, man. I'm hoping he comes on the show, but if not, it's on bullshit for a little bit.
Well, you say Magnolia Slim?
Magnolia Samo. From No Limit.
Okay.
Max homie. Max homie. He got an album coming out. Yeah, he's from New Orleans. Yeah, he was Sam. He was supposed to have a No Limit album, Enemy of the State, but No Limit messed up. So his name's Samo. He got a couple joints with Max. He's been on like Marcello's albums and quite a few albums.
Oh,
so he's dope. He's dope as hell, though, man. I post about him a lot, man. But
okay, all right.
He's got an album coming out on April 2nd, I believe. But right now, I want to shout out to BG, of course. BG BG's mom, Cynthia, his Aunt Carol. So I would shout out the whole CCGG, Chopper City Gorilla Gang. And, Jig, shout out to Jig. You can follow him at, I think his handle is CCGG Jig. View is at CCGG View, VIEW. View's album, Life as a Ghetto Soldier. Life of a Ghetto Soldier. Man, I'm telling you, bro, this is my favorite album so far, and that's not just because he's BG's people. Like, of course, I love BG, I love the whole Chopper City, man, but, nah, man, I heard this album. I'm telling you, it's one of my best albums. We're about to play a joint off of it. But, yeah, man, I just want everybody to know, man, like, saying you support and actually doing the support, two different things, man. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have Maal the Pimp on for no other reason than to show him the respect he deserves and to show him the love he deserves. And, that's what this show's all about, bro. Like, we don't look for views and, talk about negative shit to try to get clicks. Nah, man. We're here to show respect to people. And we're about to play a song off of View's album, Life as a Ghetto Soldier. Man, he ain't paying me to do that. It's just me showing love because I fuck with dude. It ain't about nothing else, man. He don't owe me nothing for doing it. He don't even ever have to come on the show, man. It's just a dope project.
You need to get him on here. You need to get him on here for sure, yeah.
I'm in the work. I already talked to him. I'm trying to get, he told me to talk to Carol. I'm going to talk to Carol, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
even if he never comes on, that's all good.
He'll do it. Yeah. He's in promo mode right now. He'll do it. Yeah, he'll do it. He just left him down here last week.
Yeah. It's a great album, and he sent me the video from Chattanooga. Yeah, I just watched one of his lives from Chattanooga. But,
he'll fuck with it.
Like, yeah, he's dope, man. It's a great album, man. That's the whole reason why I wanted to play a song of it, man, because I just picked a random joint. So, we sign off, you're going to hear that. But again, I'm going to sign off there, bro. I just want to thank Eric T-Max for letting me have Maal the Pimp on. Of course, again, listen to this show, man. Follow Maal the Pimp. Get all his shit, man. And check out his podcast, man. I can't tell you how much I appreciate the time that he gave us tonight. And, of course, rest in peace to Silver Slim and Free BG. BG gonna hear all these shows one day, man. I write to BG all the time. He'll be back and shit. But I've been writing BG for 10 years now, man. He always be writing me back, telling me he's gonna come on the show when he's free and shit. I think just really up to that. But even if he don't, Free BG, I love his bro. He's a real soldier, and I love B Jizzle. And shout out the whole Chopper City guards, like everybody, man. Rest in peace, Mike, everybody, man. But, all right, I'm signing off. We'll play this Chopper City Gorilla Gang View, that's the Ghetto Soldier album out right now. Everybody replay this joint. Check out everything Maal the Pimp said. Follow him everywhere he says so. Maal the Pimp on the illest guest I've ever seen that. And I'm going to sign off, listen to this joint. I appreciate everybody on this phone right now, man.
Definitely, man, Pat. We appreciate you as always. Thank you, Maal. Once again, thank you again. Definitely one love.
No problem. See y'all, man. Appreciate y'all.
Right. Appreciate you, man. Thank you. Be safe.
About to run two back-to-back joints. Big shout out to Maal the Pimp, man. Dope Bill. We up. Holla.
Yep. Peace.
It's like I'm the heart of the street, you know what I'm saying? You already know a body can't operate without a heart, you know what I'm saying? So if the heart stops and the street stops bumping, look, if you could catch me, not strapped, nigga, you're good. Come out the house without the pistol, I wish I would. Haters in love to catch me slipping, but nigga, please. I know these streets too well, they a part of me. I'm a fool, I feel like I'm the best. I take your old lady, get my name tatted on her chest. I lead her ass so, I lead her pussy wet. I give her back to you, then move on to who next. I hold a block down. green, white, and brown. Cross Martin Luther King on the yell uptown. I live by the code, I die by the code. Don't rat, don't snitch, don't bend, don't fold. Let's go. When I was young, man, I got lost in the street. But now my heart in the street, man, I'm the heart of the street. When I was young, man, I got lost in the street. But now my heart in the street, man, I'm the heart of the street. When I was young, man, I got lost in the street. But now my heart in the street, man, I'm the heart of the street. When I was young, man, I got lost in the street. But now my heart in the street, man, I'm the heart of the street. All the hood niggas could feel me, and I ain't hard to find since I got money. The hood is where I still be. Post up, cigarette hanging from my lip, Glock in my pocket, you see it, I extended the clip. No joke, nigga, no game. Dog, it's all real with me, it's no plan. I walk it, I talk it, I play it, how it go. Only 3 words I tell them people is I don't know. You say about this, you say about that. I heard nigga busted you and you ain't bust back. You say you sold this, you say you sold that. I did investigation, nigga, you ain't sold jack. What's that? When I was young, man, I got lost in the street. But now my heart in the street, man, I'm the heart of the street. When I was young, man, I got lost in the street. But now my heart in the street, man, I'm the heart of the street. When I was young, man, I got lost in the street. But now my heart in the street, man, I'm the heart of the street. When I was young, man, I got lost in the street. But now my heart in the street, man, I'm the heart of the street. Man, I sleep with the tigers, I eat with the bears. However you want it, believe that I could take it there. It's real in the field, dog. Kill it, be killed, home. Papa get popped up, walker get walked on. Stealer get stole, dog. Pimper get pimp, nigga. Shaker get shook, dog. Flipper get flipped, nigga. Stepper get stepped on. Papa get popped up. Watch what you say on the phone, it could get you locked up. Shooter get shot, dog. Do it, get done, nigga. If you a man, always stand and never run, nigga. That's how I play it, man. Just with G. If you ain't know, man, I'm the heart of the street. When I was young, man, I got lost in the street. But now my heart in the street, man, I'm the heart of the street. When I was young, man, I got lost in the street. But now my heart in the street, man, I'm the heart of the street. When I was young, man, I got lost in the street. But now my heart in the street, man, I'm the heart of the street. When I was young, man, I got lost in the street. But now my heart in the street, man, I'm the heart of the street.
Yes, and motherfucking D, baby. Beat Jizzle is the motherfucking heart of the street. You understand me? The streets ain't pumping without Beat Jizzle, my nigga. Believe that. We was raised in the motherfucking streets. Far as I know, I was born in the motherfucking streets. Right there on the sidewalk, my mama went to lay. You understand what I'm saying? And you thought it was over with life after Cash Money? Oh no, baby. We coming right back at your ass. You understand me? And guess what? Beat Jizzle a fool with it. Give him that work, and I bet you he know what to do with it. Come on, Jizzle.